Welcome to the Daily Globe. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. In a world marked by division, where borders are not just lines on a map, but symbols of economic and political rivalry, every new alliance has the potential to shift the balance of power. The global landscape is constantly evolving, shaped by the ambitions and strategies of nations both large and small. Singapore, a city-state renowned for its adaptability and vision, has just made a move that could reshape the global economic landscape. This isn't just another headline, it's a signal that the rules of the game are changing, and Singapore is determined to be at the center of it all. On September 10, 2025, Singapore and China signed the Sino-Singaporean Digital Silk Road Initiative, a strategic pact focused on the digital economy, artificial intelligence, and green finance. This agreement marks a new chapter in their partnership, aiming to foster innovation, drive sustainable growth, and set new standards for digital connectivity across Asia. This is more than a trade deal. It's a bold alignment that challenges the West's dominance in global trade and technology. By joining forces, Singapore and China are sending a clear message. The future of commerce and innovation may no longer be dictated solely by Western powers. Singapore is positioning itself as a vital bridge between East and West, offering global businesses a gateway to Asia's largest market. Its strategic location and reputation for stability make it the ideal conduit for companies seeking to navigate the complexities of the region. The deal arrives as the US and China intensify their rivalry, but Singapore is charting its own course, engagement over containment. Rather than choosing sides, Singapore is leveraging its unique position to foster dialogue and cooperation, even as tensions rise elsewhere. For ASEAN, this move could accelerate regional growth, but also tests the region's neutrality amid superpower competition. The pact may inspire other Southeast Asian nations to rethink their own strategies, balancing opportunity with caution. International investors now have a clearer path into China, with Singapore as a trusted intermediary. This new access could unlock billions in cross-border investments, fueling innovation and economic development on an unprecedented scale. This agreement is a calculated risk, betting on cooperation in a fragmented world. It's a move that requires vision, trust, and the willingness to embrace uncertainty for the promise of shared prosperity. Can a small nation build bridges in an era of walls? Singapore's pact with China suggests it's not only possible, but essential. In a time when many are turning inward, Singapore is reaching out, forging connections that could redefine the future. The impact of this Singapore-Beijing nexus is just beginning to reverberate across the globe. As the world watches, the choices made today could redraw the map for generations to come. To truly grasp the significance of this deal, we need to look at the bigger picture, one that stretches back decades and is shaped by Singapore's unique position in the world. Since gaining independence, Singapore has walked a diplomatic tightrope, carefully balancing its relationships with global powers while forging its own path. With no natural resources to fall back on, Singapore's very survival has depended on its ability to stay open to the world, embracing free trade, innovation, and a rules-based international order. Over the years, it's built strong and enduring ties with the United States, hosting a key naval presence and collaborating on security and economic initiatives. At the same time, Singapore has cultivated deep trust with China, investing in patient diplomacy and ambitious joint projects that have become models for regional cooperation. Within ASEAN, Singapore's approach is to champion unity and neutrality, always rejecting zero-sum competition and instead promoting dialogue and collaboration among its neighbors. Prime Minister Lawrence Wong recently reaffirmed this philosophy, emphasizing the importance of engaging with all partners, big or small, to secure Singapore's future. The new deal with China isn't a sudden pivot or a break from the past, it's the latest step in Singapore's pragmatic, adaptive strategy to remain relevant and resilient. Even as it maintains discrete military ties with Taiwan, Singapore has managed to build immense trust with Beijing, demonstrating its skill at managing sensitive relationships. This ability to balance seemingly contradictory relationships, sometimes simultaneously, is the true hallmark of Singapore's diplomatic playbook. Now the digital Silk Road represents the next chapter in this carefully choreographed dance, connecting Singapore to new opportunities in technology and digital trade. It's a modern expression of Singapore's enduring pragmatism, always adapting, always looking ahead, and always finding ways to thrive in a complex world. China and Singapore's economic partnership is among Asia's strongest, built on capital flows, knowledge transfer, and high-value joint ventures. Bilateral trade exceeded $120 billion in 2024, with Singaporean firms pioneering urban development and financial services in China. Singapore is the premier offshore hub for the Chinese yuan, cementing its status as a global financial center. The new agreement builds on this foundation, focusing on AI, digital governance, and sustainable finance to move the relationship up the value chain. Together, they're setting a new precedent for international economic collaboration in the digital and green economies. The Digital Silk Road Initiative, signed in September 2025, creates a seamless digital economic zone between Singapore and China. It's built on three pillars: digital governance and data flows, AI collaboration, and green finance. The deal establishes secure, mutually recognized standards for data protection, reducing barriers for businesses. A $5 billion joint fund will drive AI research for smart cities, healthcare, and manufacturing, ensuring benefits reach SMEs, not just tech giants. On green finance, Singapore and China will co-develop standards and financial instruments to fund sustainable projects across Asia. This positions Singapore as the region's green finance hub, with China as a key partner. The initiative is a blueprint for future digital and sustainable cooperation. The Digital Silk Road is driven by a new generation of leaders: Singapore's Prime Minister Lawrence Wong and China's Premier Li Qiang. Wong's vision is for Singapore to be an architect of international cooperation, not just a beneficiary. He frames the initiative as building digital bridges, not walls, aiming for inclusive growth through technology. Li Qiang sees Singapore as a partner in global governance and innovation, taking the relationship into the digital age. Veteran diplomat Kishore Mahbubani and others see this as a win-win, making Singapore indispensable to all major players. The deal reflects Singapore's philosophy security through relevance and engagement. It's a leader-driven initiative to secure Singapore's place in a changing world. The Digital Silk Road is the ultimate expression of this forward-looking strategy. It's a bold step into the future of global cooperation. Singapore's deal with China is a template for ASEAN, offering a path to upgrade regional economic ties with China. If successful, other ASEAN nations may follow, accelerating digital transformation and green investment. The deal could channel more Chinese investment through Singapore into Southeast Asia, benefiting the region's economies. Yet it also raises concerns about ASEAN's neutrality and the risk of tilting the regional balance. The bloc will likely adopt a pragmatic wait-and-see approach, with each member weighing risks and rewards. Singapore's track record of bilateral projects with regional benefits will be closely watched. The hope is that this initiative strengthens ASEAN unity, not undermines it. In the halls of Washington, policymakers are watching the rise of China's Digital Silk Road with growing unease. The initiative is seen as more than just a technological leap. It's a strategic move that could deepen China's influence in critical sectors like artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and the management of vast troves of sensitive data. For U.S. officials, the stakes are high, as these technologies underpin not only economic growth, but also national security and global power dynamics. The United States is particularly wary of Singapore's new data corridor with China. There's a real fear in Washington that this partnership could fragment the global digital order, creating parallel systems and standards that challenge American leadership. If Singapore's model proves successful, it could set a powerful precedent for other nations in the region and beyond, accelerating a shift toward a more divided digital world. Despite these concerns, the U.S. continues to value Singapore as a vital security and economic partner. American officials are likely to respond with quiet, behind-the-scenes diplomacy, seeking assurances that Singapore will maintain robust safeguards, protect sensitive data, and keep channels of cooperation open. The challenge for U.S. policymakers is to craft a compelling economic vision for the region, one that can coexist with, rather than simply compete against, China's growing influence. This means offering attractive alternatives and building trust with regional partners. For Southeast Asian nations, including Singapore, engagement with China is seen as a pragmatic choice. It's not about turning away from the West, but about maximizing opportunities and maintaining flexibility in a rapidly changing world. Singapore's approach stands out as the most sophisticated example of this balancing act, leveraging its unique position to benefit from both sides while carefully managing the risks. For Washington, the challenge is to remain a relevant and trusted partner in the region, without forcing countries like Singapore to make binary choices between the US and China. Ultimately, the future of Southeast Asia will be shaped by how well the US adapts to this new reality, one where influence is shared and partnerships are more complex than ever before. In this evolving landscape, Singapore's balancing act is now the model to watch, offering valuable lessons for both Washington and the wider world. Experts see Singapore's digital Silk Road as a masterclass in middle power diplomacy. Rather than choosing sides, Singapore is building a new center, making itself indispensable to all. The deal's genius lies in co-developing digital and green finance standards, giving Singapore norm-setting power. This third way could attract other developing nations seeking alternatives to US or EU models. Kishore Mahbubani calls it a win-win. China gains a trusted partner, Singapore secures its gateway status. It's not an abandonment of the West, but a realistic response to China's economic gravity. Still, the strategy carries risks. Closer alignment with China could create friction with the US and its allies. The key will be maintaining transparency, robust safeguards, and security ties with the West. Singapore's success depends on flawless execution and continued trust from all sides. The world is watching this diplomatic balancing act unfold. The Digital Silk Road is Singapore's declaration of its vision for the future, anchored in digital innovation, sustainability, and global cooperation. The agreement cements Singapore's role as a critical hub for capital, technology, and trade. As geopolitical tensions rise, Singapore offers a narrative of bridge building and shared progress. The challenge is to deliver real outcomes, jobs, growth, and equitable benefits from AI and digital trade. The world will watch if this becomes a blueprint for engaging China while maintaining strategic autonomy. Singapore's path will test the limits of middle power diplomacy. The Lion City has made its move. Its success will help define the global order for decades to come. The world is watching.